Would it be easier to just say Ultraviolette F77 version 2.0?
No, this would be Ultraviolette F77 Mach 1 being the original. This is 1.0102 maybe.
Okay.
Now, let's get the hardware out of the way first. They have just done a few small things.
Okay.
They have optimized these battery packs further. I don't have details, but in the process, you get 20 kilometers of range more on the IDC cycle from both. Not that we thought that the lack of range was the issue, but you have a little bit more now. That's change number one.
So the battery packs are effectively the same. It's just a
little bit more range.
Okay.
And it could be a software update. It could be a slight change in the battery spec, whatever it is. 20 kilometers more range. And these are respectable ranged motorcycles. Correct. The 10 kilowatt hour thing does 323 kilometers of IDC range, which is excellent. Okay. That doesn't translate to the real world, which we'll come to. But 323 as a promise, it's a good promise. No stress about that. Second, when I rode the Mach 1, as it were, the frame was a weak spot. Because, for example, when you come down the curly flyover, that turn, it's a little bumpy. You'd commit to the turn and then you'd see the bumps and then you close the throttle and feel the chassis feel like a spring flexing and all of that. And it isn't a great chassis anyway, because the battery pack size compromises the chassis, which we'll discuss in detail. They've fixed some of those issues. So the steering head area is much stiffer and they've tweaked the torsional rigidity of the frame also. So together, it felt like a lot better motorcycle. I'm still very, very, very strongly struggling to call it a sports bike, because what a average modern sports bike can do, the F77 cannot.
Okay.
The problem is the size of the battery pack, and it compromises many things. We'll come to it.
Yeah.
This in fundamentals is the change in the hardware spec. All of the rest of the changes are software.
So power is the same? Power, torque, all of that same? No change to that. Okay then.
So in the software, one, like Ather did, they've also deployed traction control.
All right.
And on an electric, traction control is very easy to do in the sense of put two wheel sensors in, which the Ultraviolette already had because it has ABS. So it's a very simple system. And like with all electrics, their advantages, these systems have no moving components as it were. So you can ramp up traction control really quickly. So it can come in really quickly. I rode about, I'm going to say 155, 60 kilometers, most of it on wet roads in the rain. And it was in the rain mode, which is traction control was in T3, which is what they suggest you should use in the rain. And the few times I did manage to activate it, it's not instant. There is a little bit of lag. I didn't think of it as upsetting, but it arrives and then it's a little heavy-handed. But this was the most heavy-handed traction control mode. I didn't get dry roads often enough to be able to try out the other two traction control modes, and you can turn
which are more lenient.
And I couldn't turn it off fully either because of the wet road. So when this bike comes for the view story, then we'll explore traction control fully. Does it work? Yes. T3, the rain mode, it's a little bit heavy-handed, but it's okay.
Okay.
No crisis.
This presumes that it has an IMU.
No. This is a very simple system. It's comparing two wheel speeds, just like the Ather Rizta does.
Okay.
These are the wheel speeds. That's rotating at 50. Why is that rotating at 75? Cut part. Simple.
So it's that simple.
It's that simple. It's a very basic system. It is unaware of what the bike's alignment in 3D space is. It's not cornering.
So no chance of cornering ABS and
it's basic traction control, which for a motorcycle with this kind of performance, okay. It's a heavy motorcycle. It's slightly difficult to manage and all of that. I understand why they did it. Most importantly, it's a very simple system. To the point where earlier F77 Mach 1s may be able to get traction control as a backward update.
Correct.
I'm not sure if it is a priced update or a non-priced update. I don't have clarity on that. But what they said is everything that we've done for the Mach 2 can be rolled back and given to people who have bought the earlier Machs. I'm again not clear on whether they're intent on doing that or not. I will leave that in the pinned comment. I'll get an update from Ultraviolette and tell you if you have a Mach 1 today, should you get all the software updates from the Mach 2 or not. I'll tell you.
Right now, this is a bit of the serious conversation, but you can catch all the fun factor on the full video, which is on the MotorInc channel. So head out there and subscribe. And if you want more of these shorter clips, do subscribe to this channel as well.